Hey everybody, welcome to Vision One Media Artist Shoutout. My name is Ella Beth. I'm going to be your host today, like most weeks. And in this episode of Artist Shoutout, I'm bringing to you an artist who I met through Corby Bohannon, who we've mentioned on the podcast before. He is an artist based out of Atlanta who is a singer, a songwriter, a producer. He works in studio work. He works live. This man does all of the things, and I'm really excited to have a chat with him today. So without further ado, welcome JULIAN SOSA.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your musical journey. What brought you here?
To this very moment?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess my family is a very musical family.
Okay.
My mother and father are both musicians. My mother's a piano player, and my father, he plays the bass and the guitar. And I first learned my dad started teaching me the guitar probably when I was like 9 or 10 years old. And at first I hated it because I didn't want to do it. For some reason I didn't want to do it. But
like don't make me.
He forced me to learn the guitar. He's like, because I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to play, like, he really loved baseball. He tried to put me in baseball. I didn't want to do baseball. He just tried to put me in different things. I didn't want to do any of them, right? For whatever reason that was. But he started trying to get me to learn the guitar. And he was like, okay, if you're not going to do anything, you're going to do, at least you're going to learn this. You're going to learn the guitar, right? So after a while, I still didn't like it until finally, I think it was my older sister Yara who bought me Guitar Hero or something. I think it was there was a Guitar Hero game for the DS. Okay. Right? That was my first Guitar Hero game. And so I played that game and I would play that and I was like, oh man, the guitar's so cool. Oh, this is so much fun. And I would be playing air guitar and stuff, whenever I would listen to music. Yeah. And then I don't know, at some point it occurred to me, it's like, wait a second.
I could play real guitar.
I don't have to do air guitar. I can play the real guitar. It's right there. Yeah. So eventually, I started taking it a little more seriously. I started learning. And what made me want to, because my dad was trying to teach me, the fundamentals. And then he figured out, oh, you know what? I figured out, I'll really enjoy this if I just learn the songs I like.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think the first song that I learned, I think it was Come As You Are by Nirvana.
Me too. High five.
Yeah. Excellent. I can hardly reach you, so... There we go. That's better. But that was
it's groovy.
Yeah. But I think that was some other Beatles song. I forget what it is. But that was how I started. And he taught me for like a year or so, and I learned just learning songs that I liked. And then after then, I basically would watch like YouTube tutorials on how to play whatever song on guitar. Yeah. And there's lots of those on YouTube.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of how I got my start. And, come around 14, my main bands that I'm listening to are like stuff like Blink-182 and Green Day and stuff. Because that was like my vein when I was a kid. When I was coming into high school and stuff like that. Yeah. So I really like bands like Blink-182. Was my favorite band. I'm still holds somewhere in the top list, but
Oh, absolutely.
I've obviously have changed since those days.
But I would say there's a reason why they've had such longevity and why they're having a comeback tour. It's because Blink-182 are fantastic. So.
It's it was a fundamental part of a lot of kids' childhood. Yeah. Me being one of those kids. But yeah, and the thing is about those songs is anybody can play power chords. So I was like, oh, I'm going to write power chord punk music. And then that's kind of that was when I was 14 listening to that music. And that was when I started my first band, which I'm not going to mention because God forbid anybody finds that stuff on the internet.
So it's out there then.
It's still out there and I can't get it down. I can't get it down.
Okay. So
it will remain unnamed because God, I will die of embarrassment if anybody
that's amazing.
Sends me a message oh, I found your first project, Julian. Oh wow, because it's bad.
But then you can also as bad as it is, you can feel but look how much I've improved though. Right.
However, I'd like to save the embarrassment. Okay. But since then, I was so what was next? Yeah, around 16. That was when I met my friend Julian Chawla. right? And he invited me to be in a band called Stay Here. And I spent a lot of my high school life hanging out with those guys, Julian, Renee, and Parker, hanging out with them, playing music in Parker's parents' basement. That was fun.
Nice.
So this band became a pretty big part of my life, to the point where I didn't really show up for my senior year of high school because we were playing shows and stuff, and we had toured a few times, and it was really cool being like 16, 17, 18, out on the road playing music. Like, it was like a dream come true.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. Here, let me go back a little bit too, because where I really got my start, before I started playing in that band, I was in a worship band for the first church I ever went to. So that's when I learned I really love playing the bass in bands.
Okay.
So today I'm a bass player. Today, I mean, I write and play guitar, but I'm a bass player through and through. And that's kind of where it began, playing in worship bands. But, it's funny. I got kicked out of that worship band because, I forget what it was, but I posted on Snapchat something with the F word. Fuck. I posted that word on Snapchat, and somebody ratted me out to the youth minister. And then they had a conversation, be like, it's not, this is a pretty serious leadership position when you're in the worship band. And, if you're going to be saying words like that on the internet, you may not be a good fit for this. And I was so pissed. I was like, man, but it's just a bad word, blah, blah, blah. It's just a word, whatever. But yeah, so they kicked me out of the worship band.
I mean,
I was 16.
I mean, yeah, that's like, as a 16-year-old, it's like, okay, you should, I don't know, like, get at least a strike,
Right, yeah.
Maybe second strike, you're out.
And I was also like a little too stubborn to apologize. I was just kind of like,
okay, so
I was like,
and there it is.
Whatever, yeah, okay, I said about a word, fine, whatever, I don't care.
Okay.
So they kicked me out. No hard feelings today. Anyways. Yeah, so that was where I really started loving to play the bass. And I think after then is when, I may have the timeline a little confused, because I think I went worship band, my little punk band, and then I joined Stay Here.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So we did that for a little bit. Come COVID, I started getting into some silly business, which led to the point where I was asked to leave Stay Here. I was probably like 20 years old at the time. They asked me to leave the band. And, I left the band begrudgingly. And because of that, I still wanted to play music and write and record and produce. And I was like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? I can just start a solo project. And that was when I started 501st Symphony.
Okay.
Which was, it's 2023 now. So I started that, I think. Yeah, it was late 2020 when I started it and came out with my first song with that project, Carry Yourself. I released that song in, I think, January of 2021.
And did you do all the instrumentation on it? Like,
yes.
You did bass and guitar, you sang?
Yes.
Are you also one of those people who also plays drums?
Well, today I don't really want to call myself a drummer today. I did learn the drums when I was in middle school. Right.
Okay, so you can, like, you've got a sense of rhythm.
I can play the drums. If you give me a drum kit, I don't own a drum kit, but if you give me a drum kit and give me like 2 weeks, then I will call myself a drummer again, because I can play the drums, just not right now. I need practice.
Yeah.
It's like riding a bike.
I feel like that about violin. Like, put a violin in my hands and give me a little bit of time.
Just give me like a week or two, and I'll be
okay.
I can play some songs, just not too complex.
So you did all your own instrumentation.
Right.
Did you also record and produce it all yourself?
So I recorded that with Corby Bohannon, who has been shouted out several times on this podcast. But yes, it was when I started 501st Symphony that I actually met Corby like many years before that. He was like, I think he was hired to be on a worship band that I was also a part of at one point. I left the band, and then he was hired onto the worship team, and that's where we met. But we were just kind of like buddies. We're like, okay, hey, what's up?
Yeah,
that kind of interaction. And then later on, my sister Yara started doing live music with Corby, and I don't really remember, but we're cool, but we weren't like friends like that because we would hardly like interact.
Right.
But it wasn't until I was looking for someone to record my new stuff that Yara invited me out to one of Corby's shows. I think it was at Tucker Brewing Company.
Okay.
And
sounds about right.
Yeah. And so it was then when I was like, yo, hey, like, you know, asked him what he does. You know, we talked for a little bit, and, you know, I decided to do my next song with him. And since then, that's when, you know, all this, the 501st stuff that I'm doing right now, it has to be with Corby. He's the only engineer that I want to work with.
Okay.
But, and, you know, and right now we're working on I think it's a 10 track album right now.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
Just him and me making this album. And it's taken a while. It's been like a year that we've been working on this, but I'm really excited about this. Him and I, see, we write the drums together straight up, like, we just track MIDI.
Yeah.
Like, we just use MIDI drums, and we just mess with it to the point where it sounds real.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so him and I have been working on that for a while. And right now, everybody that I'm producing, I bring to his studio.
Okay. All right. So yeah, while we're on that, so like now, you know, I have like a bit of an idea about you as a musician, but tell me about Julian, the producer.
Well, so
how did that start, and what are you working on, and how's that journey been as opposed to being just a live musician? Right.
So I think really where it started was when I was working with Stay Here. This was so we released our debut album in, I think it's November of 2019. We recorded that album. It was like a year it was like a year.
Okay.
That we spent recording that album at Toast and Jam Studio with with Dom Maduri and Ian Riley. Okay. And you know, writing all, like, because with that album, I kind of learned a lot of, you know, my potential when it comes to songwriting, because I'd never really been a part of a project like that, and really recorded in a studio, you know. So, because we'd recorded like EPs and stuff like in studios, because Toast and Jam, I remember when we recorded our first EP, it was called Blindfolds, not on the internet today. Okay. Unfortunately, but when we started recording that with Toast and Jam, we were just in a room like about the size of where we are right now.
Yeah.
But you know, eventually Toast and Jam moved on to a bigger space, and you know, with lots of space is the point. I don't really know how to explain it. But we, you know, I had when I started helping the guys write all the stuff. Basically, when helping them write that album, I kind of learned, you know, what I'm made of, you know?
Right.
I learned, you know, I have an ear for harmonies. I like to think I write pretty cool bass lines.
Yeah.
I had a hand. I almost in its entirety wrote 2 of the songs on the album, Atlantic and Family on that album. And when I wrote these songs and added lyrics and wrote bass for the whole album, and just all the different little bits of everything that I threw in there, it's like, how did I figure all this out?
Yeah.
Where is this coming from? And really all it comes from is that, like, I love music and I love copying people and putting what they write into my music.
Right.
So kind of what it made me realize is I'm like a human music library, and it's just like, oh, this would go good here. This would go good there. Because really everything that I've added to anything is just, oh, that reminds me of this one song. Oh, I should do this and put it here. Which, you know, what's that quote? It's like what is it? It's like bad artists borrow, great artists steal, and it says like Picasso, and then it's scratched out and says Banksy underneath it.
Yeah.
I've seen that on the internet, but it's like, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that right there.
Right.
Because I mean, I don't really know if anything original really exists. You know what I mean? It's like everybody gets something from somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're all like putting our own flair on things, but yeah. Absolutely.
We like, you know, just taking something and making it your own. You know, maybe not copying. Copying may not be the right word, but
I would say on that, I would say like some of the best songs that I've ever written, or at least some of the ones that other people have said are the best songs I've ever written, have been like, I've gotten whole entire, like, not phrases, but like entire sentences from other songs that I'm inspired by.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I hear you. But so it was working on that project that made me realize I really love writing music. I really love tracking bass, guitar, blah blah blah. You know, just tracking. You know,
Yeah.
and that was really what gave me my taste for what gave me my love for being in the studio, right? And after then, you know, we toured a little bit, we played a lot of shows, and you know, I had two loves, right? There was the recording and the performing, and you know, I'll always love performing. You know, I love performing, but I think I love recording even more.
Wow.
Right? So
Okay.
basically, that's the thing about 501st Symphony, you know, my current project, is that I've only played like 3 shows. They were all acoustic shows, but I've only played like 3 of them. But what I've really loved about doing this project is all the time that I've spent in the studio, really just coming up with stuff.
Yeah. And then laying it down and putting it together.
A lot of how I write, like I don't do demos. I just kind of just come up with all of it in my head and then bring it to the studio.
Yeah.
And it's been, I don't know. It's because kind of the intention of 501st was never like, this is going to be my new project. It's like, you know what? Let me take a second to really like practice what I'm doing. Let me really like just try and see, you know, what works. Let me just make this album, because I had a bunch of songs. I dropped like 3 singles, but I was like, you know what? I mean, I don't really want to like do singles and do the whole like, I don't really know. I didn't really care about marketing and doing all this. I just wanted to make something. It's like, I want to just like see what I got.
Yeah.
You know? So that was the intention behind that. And what I've learned is like, you know, I can do this, but I just want to work on other people's music.
Yeah.
You know? And
that's so beautiful.
And so, I've got like a million thoughts right now, so I'm just trying to like put them together. I'm very ADHD ever since I was a kid, so I need to focus.
What can I ask on that note? What is it about working on other people's music that like brings you joy? Because for me, as a performing artist, like I'm the opposite to you. I much prefer to be live on stage.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, what is it about working in the studio, working on other people's music that really brings you that joy and that fulfillment?
Right. That's a great question. So one thing that I love about recording is that moment once you get that final mix, you got that master, and it's ready to go, and you have that satisfaction of like, this is my song. And this thing's and I'm ready to show this to everybody. Like, this is me, guys. This is my music. Just that feeling of satisfaction of like, this is it, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people, like especially like local artists that, you know, that I know that they don't have a band behind them. They just don't have the people to write the music. They might be really good singers. I know a lot of singers that like they just don't have the band behind them to write, like help them write music, and like some of them are really good songwriters. But one thing that I'm capable of is I can help write a full band. I don't know. I'm trying to find the word, but I can write I can write the music for them. You know, it's like I want to help other people feel that satisfaction of, oh my God, this is my song.
Yeah,
you know, I want other people to feel that too, because I know what it means to me.
I love that. That's really awesome.
Thanks. But, yeah, that's kind of the intention of 501st. Just to let me like just figure out my like, this is my toolbox right here, and let me just like dump it all into this album, and it's just kind of practice, I guess. It's kind of practice, I guess. I don't really know, but you know.
So then, if you've learned, or if you've gotten tools by doing 501st Symphony, have you thought about doing any sort of like a collaboration with other people, like bringing them into this toolbox that you have, like adding different things?
I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it anyways, because I don't
no names.
See why not. I'm gonna name drop.
Okay,
but so. Miles has been on here before. I do have a verse on an upcoming song. I don't know if that's me leaking anything, or I don't know. But yes,
I love that.
So so me and Miles have a song together. It's his song. I have a featured verse on there. I'm currently producing. I'm producing 3 people right now. One artist that we just finished a song well, two artists that we just finished a song. There's Morgan. So we finished. So Corby and I were working on one of Morgan's songs. I don't think it's going to be a debut, but we are currently working on what I think is going to be the debut track for her. Okay. But we worked on a song with Morgan. Incredible, very 1,000 Years Christina Perri vibes.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I love that. I love that.
I think it was a lot of fun to work on because I don't know, because typically I work on like alternative rock music, and then this was like soft singer-songwriter vibes.
Diversify your portfolio,
exactly. And that's really what I want. I want to work on whatever I can. And then so the other artists so all these artists that I'm working with, I'm bringing them to Corby's studio. And so another one, his name is Mateo. He goes by the Highlander. We just finished one of his songs that it's like how do I describe it? It's like an outlaw country song. It feels like a song that, like, if you're watching like a Western movie, it's like this is the song that's going on when Buddy's going face down. The sheriff is like,
okay,
yeah, you get what I'm saying?
It goes like,
not like whistly,
okay,
Western soundtrack. Just more like I'm gonna fuck this guy up type Western country.
Okay.
It's like, I guess, country. I don't really know my genres like that.
Cool.
But yeah, that's one song we're working on, or that we're done. I think we have another one that we're gonna work on soon. But I'm also working with Heather Dixon. She's got a lot of songs that we're trying to figure out which one's the debut.
Okay.
But we're working on a lot of songs together. Right now, that's everybody that I'm producing. I've been sitting in with some studio sessions with Stay Here. Because I forget if I mentioned that in the whole chronology that I am also back in Stay Here again. We actually just released a song today. I forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah, that was something
that's kind of an important thing to bring up. But we actually just released a song today called Crash Landing.
Where can people find that?
Spotify, Apple Music. Follow us at Stay Here GA, Instagram, Twitter.
Nice.
But that came out today.
What was the process like of doing that now that you're because you're only just recently back in the band? So what was the process of like recording and being in the studio and like re-injecting your...
So we're actually not there yet. I've very recently joined the band.
Okay.
I sat in for a session that we were tracking drums for a new song. One that has it's a pretty hard rock, like heavy rock type of vibe. I haven't really had the chance to record anything new for Stay Here yet, but they have a couple songs that they have ready to go.
Okay.
This being one of them that came out today. There's another one that I guess they recorded these songs before I joined back in the band. But
are you guys still rehearsing in the basement?
No.
Okay.
No, we're not. No. That was years ago. But we currently oh man, I forget the name because I just recently started hanging out with that whole crew. But it's a studio. It's the studio that Matt Wood works out of. I forget the name of it. It has a name, and someone else works there. We just met, and I'm so bad with names, so I forgot his name. So they have like a little space. They have like a little control room, and then a tracking room just outside. That's where we practice.
Okay,
that's where we rehearse.
Okay,
but no, we're not in a basement anymore.
Okay, not in the basement. Yeah. Nice. But moving up.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So what about for the rest of this year? Like what in regards, you mentioned that you're working on getting some tour together with Stay Here?
Well, we do have some shows coming up.
Okay.
Next week we will be, I'm assuming this video will be out much later.
Yeah.
Further after when we play these shows, but we are playing a show in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Oh, nice. Out of state. Ooh.
Yes. And then our next show is going to be at the Bon House in Decatur with Glazed, a band from Florida, along with other bands. But I'm very bad with names. Okay. I'm very, very bad with names.
No worries.
So no disrespect to everybody who's name I'm forgetting. I'm really sorry.
Glazed is easy to remember.
Yes.
Just think of
one word. Another band, Suitor. That band as well. And Equal Creatures. I remembered. Yep.
Nice.
There we go. But yeah, these shows are all happening next week.
Okay.
We have another show in April, I believe, with Cool, which that's a band that I had the pleasure of. That's Dominic Maduri's band.
Okay.
He helped produce Grow, Stay Here's debut album. But I had the pleasure of tracking bass for one of his songs, How Does That Sound? Also available on Spotify and Apple Music. But we'll be playing a show with them at the Masquerade in April. I forget what date, but you can stay up to date with all these things at Stay Here GA and at, I forget, Cool's Instagram handle, so forgive me.
Okay.
But
the Masquerade,
yes,
damn.
at the Masquerade,
that's
yes.
like that's a big deal.
No,
That's
yeah.
cool. Nice.
Playing at the Masquerade is always a lot of fun, especially when we can get as many people as we can out there.
Absolutely.
It's a really fun place to play.
Yeah.
I think I think we have plans to play some shows around the Southeast in June,
Nice.
I believe.
Okay. Summer.
Yes, in the summer. So we're planning ahead a little bit. But yes. And then in regards to that's it. Yeah.
Nice.
I almost went too far, but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. So before we wrap up the interview, can you just again let the audience know where to find you as 501st Symphony, where to find Stay Here,
Where to find anything.
Where to find anything, yeah. Where to find your stuff. Like if people want to listen,
Right.
they want to find you, where do they do that?
So if you want to stay up to date with everything that I'm working on, you can follow my personal Instagram at JULIAN, and that's like Julian, but SHMOOLIAN, Shmulian. And you can find Stay Here at Stay Here GA, 501st Symphony, my personal project, at 501 Symphony. Also, please go check out Grace Asbury's new music video, Pour Me. I had the pleasure of participating in that music video. I had a little cameo role as a boxer. It was really fun. But yeah, that's that's it. Thank you. Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you so much, Julian, for coming along and being
thank you
part of the
for having me.
podcast.
Yeah.
You've been an excellent guest.
Thank you.
And if you're someone who has been watching our podcast, or this is the first one that you're seeing, and you think to yourself that you'd like to come along and be a guest on here, and you're a musician around Atlanta or Georgia, or even further if you happen to be visiting here in the city, we would love to hear from you. You can find us at Vision One Media ATL on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. We have our website, visiononemedia.com. And we would love to hear from you. We'd love to work with you. So please let us know if that's something you're interested. And I will see y'all next time. Peace.